So I just got back home from Kings Warriors Game 1 from Golden One Center. I was able to get media credentials to go to Game 1 and my first in-person playoff game. And what a game to go to. I mean, I don't even know if this video is going to be like mostly analysis about the game, or more so me talking about the experience that it was going to a historic playoff game like this one. And it was historic. This is the first playoff game that was hosted in Sacramento in 16 years. Like 16 years. The iPhone wasn't even out yet the last time the Kings made the playoffs. I was in 8th grade the last time the Kings made the playoffs. It was an unreal experience, first of all. One, pulling up to the arena and trying to navigate downtown and stuff. And a side note, I cannot wait to rewatch this game later because ESPN did it right. There was no other choice to do play-by-play broadcasting for this game other than Mark Jones, who is also the local play-by-play guy for the Kings whenever he doesn't have the ESPN assignment. So there was nobody else that deserved to do this first game than Mark Jones himself. So I can't wait to rewatch that game. But just pulling up to the arena, the atmosphere, and just when the Kings came out for the layup line, like 15 minutes before the game, there was just this pop in the crowd, this eruption that I was looking at some of my, colleagues on Media Row, and I was just like, if this is the crowd for when the Kings are going to the fucking layup line, I cannot imagine what the game is going to look like. And it did not disappoint. It started off with the free playoff shirts that everybody got, and, the Kings arena team was basically, telling Kings fans every 10 minutes or so on the loudspeakers, put those shirts on. We want this is going to be part of our postseason lineup introductions. They were trying to incorporate the fans into the lineup introduction, or the introduction, because they were playing a video montage and stuff. The arena got dark and it was nothing but purple glow sticks. There was a lot of talk about how there was going to be a lot of Warrior fans in Golden One. Off the top of my head, that I personally saw, and I'm sure there were probably like hundreds of Warrior fans there, but I saw like 10 to 15 people with Warriors jerseys, gear on, and stuff like that. It was mostly Kings fans, and that was one of the loudest places I have ever been to. Especially when the Kings went on that 15-4 run to end the third quarter. Trey Lyles and Malik Monk were spectacular off the bench. And that is one thing, actually, to do a little analysis, I guess. If Kevin Huerter is going to struggle like this, if that's going to be a theme in the series, then I wonder how much of the minutes Malik Monk is going to take from Huerter, because he was spectacular in this game. Tough drives to the basket, finishing through contact. He was dusting Gary Payton II and Andrew Wiggins on a couple of drives, and Monk kept the team afloat in the first half, and then Fox started picking up his aggression in the third quarter. It looked like he was trying to summon fourth quarter De'Aaron Fox a quarter early, and then obviously it went into the fourth quarter. Trey Lyles, the steady presence he has provided the Kings all year, was hitting big three after big three after big three, and when the Warriors got up 10 late in the third quarter, I'm not going to lie, I thought the Warriors from there on were going to, hold on, but then Steve Kerr takes Steph Curry out late in the third, and the Kings immediately go on a run, and the Kings go into the fourth with a 1-point lead, and that was enough, because once you get the game in range, fourth quarter Fox is going to take over, and he did. He hit some big shots in response to, Steph Curry hitting this ridiculous corner three-pointer, and from my angle, from where I saw it, and you guys have already seen some of the pictures and stuff from where I was sitting, Steph Curry was behind the fucking backboard, and he made a three to put the Warriors up one, or I think it was to tie, and then Fox answered immediately, and the Kings were up. It was just an awesome game all around, and that 15-4 run, that was the loudest I have ever heard a sports arena that I have been in person for. That 15-4 run to end the third, it was just, it was wild, man. Like I said, this game isn't really about analysis for me. This game was just more about the experience. I even got to talk to a few fans, I guess interview a few fans, and, asked them what this means to them. I asked a fan before the game, and then I asked a few after the game. And, it's much easier to talk to fans after, their team wins. But it's very clear, and I have a bunch of friends here, obviously, living in Sacramento that are mostly Kings fans, and just the way this means to people is just for one night, for tonight. I don't know how long the series is going to go, and full disclosure, I had Warriors in 6, but this series is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great offenses, great players in this series, and it's wild that the Kings won this game with Domantas Sabonis struggling like he did, with Kevin Huerter struggling like he did, and Keegan Murray struggling like he did. I mean, Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter didn't even close the game, and, obviously Sabonis, he's, arguably your best player aside from Fox, and you have to, keep him in there and, keep the infrastructure flowing and stuff like that. And Sabonis really struggled to finish over the length of Kevon Looney and Draymond Green. I thought he struggled pretty heavily in this one. And just the fact that the Kings won that game with Sabonis, who I had 5th on my MVP ballot on my fake one, struggling like he did, and the Kings still won, that's got to bode well for Sacramento for the rest of the series. But man, it was a special atmosphere, few funny stories, just a great time, and just the energy, the atmosphere around the city. I mean, after the game, K Street or David J. Stern Walkway, the whole street was just packed with people. It was a party outside. The Kings lit the playoff beam. Fans were just chilling in the Doko area. Kings fans have always been special in that, even in the down years, they still had one of the best home crowds in the NBA. And now that their team is good, they have just cranked up their energy to a whole special level. It's an energy that's been bred out of passion for this team being the lone, well, besides obviously Sac Republic FC, but of the 4 big professional sports leagues, the fact that the Kings are the only one in Sacramento, and I'm talking about out of hockey, football, basketball, and baseball, though we do have the River Cats, it's an energy that's bred out of passion, bred out of a love for a team that, was wandering in the wilderness for a bit for 16 years. And it's also just the energy was bred from a culmination of just built up tension and the fact that the fans just wanted something to root for in the playoffs, and they got it. And I'm so happy for Kings fans, like I mentioned, and I'm rambling at this point, but for this being my first in-person playoff game, and I've been to a bunch of NBA games now at this point, this was my first in-person playoff game that whether I've covered it, go to the game as a fan buying a ticket, it was my first time in a playoff game, and for it to be this one, a historic one with this fan base, I can't imagine going back 8 years ago and telling my college self that your first NBA playoff game is going to be hosted by the Sacramento Kings. And I would have been like, what? But it's crazy how life works out. it was an awesome time. And, you know, congrats to Kings fans on a Game 1 win. And we move on to Game 2.
Harrison, Joe Davidson, Sacramento Kings. For you personally, you had some tough years here as a team leader. How much joy are you feeling to get this one in?
Man, it's crazy. You know, when I very first got traded here, you know, we were pushing for the playoffs, and you know, I had a vision of what it would be like to make the playoffs here in Sac, and it was a lot of long days, just working and just being in the facility, being in these games, and so, you know, to run out there tonight and to see that and to see the fans, you know, it was exciting, but, you know, honestly, it was a little emotional, just being a part of that, and really just happy for the fans.